Hello, everybody. Welcome to day two. Actually, I should write this on my board. I have a whiteboard today. It's a little mini whiteboard, but I love whiteboards. Anyone who's had like an in-person session with me, even I've done it online before, where I always have a big whiteboard with me. My big one's over against the wall though. But I'm gonna write day two on my whiteboard. Welcome to day two of a grand experiment. 30 days of Facebook Live. I see two of you watching. Not sure who you are, but hello. Today, we're talking about could, want, and will. Could, want, will. And essentially the idea behind these 30 days is every day I'm going to hop on here and share a little piece of an idea that may help you with whatever it is you're looking for some support around, taking an action, settling down. Melissa, you made it! I'm so glad you're here because today's idea around could, want, will was inspired by a comment that you left on yesterday's video. So before I get started, just a bit of housekeeping first. Please feel free at any time to share this video with anyone in your life who you think could hear the message. Maybe there's someone who's feeling a bit stuck themselves, or they have a big idea, or they're just in thought overwhelm. You can share it publicly, share it privately, whatever inspires you to. And also, please leave your comments and questions over in the comment section. I think over there, not exactly sure. Even if you're not watching live, I am coming back in and trying to follow up with as many comments and questions as I can. So always be sharing thoughts because I love them. So yesterday, if you want to go back in time, down in the feed, but yesterday I talked about action vacuums and how they are the spaces we can get into where we are thinking so much that it's kind of taking over our lives and we are not in action on something, which is kind of paradoxical because it's when we're in action that we start to find answers and we start to just find new directions and make new connections and uncover new inspiration, and our thinking totally gets in the way. And I was in the middle of an action vacuum, and then I decided to start doing these Facebook Live videos, and it feels great. I feel energized and like I'm doing what I love, and already I have big ideas about it, and I encourage all of you to do the same. A couple of people said, well, there are so many options. And Melissa, you were sharing, I'm going to go make a list. Now, I don't know exactly what the list might be. I'm curious if you made a list. You can leave the comments to the side. I'll see them. But her idea of a list reminded me of one of my favorite coaching kind of tools / assignments that I give to my clients. And even now, there are 2 or 3 people out there who are currently assigned the task of creating what I call a could, want, will list. Now, I can't take credit for this idea, although I can't remember where I learned it. It's been years now that I've been using the could, want, will assignment, but it essentially starts with this. If you are in a position where you do not know exactly what to do next, or it feels a bit wide open, or there are lots of options and you don't know which one to take, this one's really good too. If you feel like there's only 2 choices, it's either this or it's that. My challenge to you and my starting point is always to create a could list. Now, a could list is supposed to be big and fun and kind of crazy and wild, and I want you to, as much as possible, suspend all rationality and what if, and I can't do that, or that'll never work, and to just list like even what feel like the craziest ideas on your could list. So if someone's watching and wants to leave an example of kind of this gap that they're feeling, or a decision they're trying to make, or they're not sure exactly what to do, feel free to leave it in the comments so we can brainstorm it together a bit. But make a could list of all the things that you could do. Notice I'm not saying all the things that you're going to do, all the things that you should do, all the things that your partner or your friends want you to do, or you feel obligated to do, just all the options that you could do. And go crazy, because what I have found is that on the other side of your wildest idea is usually the one that lands that you're like, oh, that one I'd never thought of before. But you kind of have to stretch your creativity a bit and let yourself just go wild with possibilities. Okay? So you create your could list. Your could list is fluid. I had a client email me this morning and she said, well, I don't know if this is complete or not. And my response to her was, it's never complete. A could list is kind of fluid and changing and things are coming on and off, but it's just this really cool exercise to get yourself thinking about all the other possibilities and opportunities there are. And you can bring someone else in on that too. So don't feel like you're alone in your brainstorming. Ask other people, like, well, what if this was you? What are some things you could do? Or what are some things that I'm missing? And you might come up with other ideas. Now, you create your could list around whatever your stuck point is, whatever your next step is, whatever your blank space is. You walk away from it for a little bit, and then you come back and you look at it. And the second time you look at it, I want you to ask yourself, well, of these things, hi, Lindsay, I was just thinking about you. Of these things, which ones do I want to do? So that requires, again, a bit of stretching, because especially if you're not used to noticing that feeling of wanting something. If you've been doing what other people want for a long time, I hear, I don't know what I want. Think of something that you know you want. It might be a favorite flavor ice cream. It might be a show that you love. It might be music that you listen to. I suspect that somewhere in your life you viscerally get the feeling of wanting something. Well, listen for that feeling as you go through the list. And if you don't have that feeling, cross it off. Again, wanting something doesn't mean you're going to do it. And that's important because your brain's going to kick in and say, but you can't do that. I know you want it, but try to ignore that and really just look at your list with this question of which ones of these do I want? And mark them. Check them off, circle them, whatever you need to do. So now you've got this could list. You've narrowed it down to the want list. Now the final step on this is the will. Is which one will you do? Now that can feel like a bit of a leap, because when you say you will do something, that leads us into the world of commitment and committing to something and starting to take action on it. But I've talked about action before, how it doesn't have to be really big. You can take these tiny micro actions on it. And tomorrow maybe I'll come in and talk about what commitment is and what it means for you energetically to say, you know what, this is the one that I will do. But let me just reassure you that deciding you're going to do something, that you're going to move something from the want list in the will list, is not irrevocable. It's not something you can never turn back from, okay? You can try things out. You can go to, I love using hiking and trails and mountains as metaphors. You can decide to go down a path and a little bit down the ways decide, you know what, this is no longer the direction I want to go in. Where do I want to go now? And what's really cool is that usually when you get down to that point, a lot of new things open up ahead of you that you weren't expecting. We never really turn around and come right back to where we started from. I'm really curious for those of you who are watching, like what you're hearing in this, because again, like I said yesterday, what I'm saying is not what's going to stick with you. What's going to stick with you is what you are hearing. So I love to know what those things are. So if you want to type them in the comments to the side, I'll take a look. We can talk some things through. But yeah, I'd love to know. Hi, Kara. Kara's here. Lindsay's here. Melissa's here. So awesome. I know, Kara, I think you're thinking of going through some could, want, will stuff. I know you've been mentioning to me about having kind of some different options to choose from. So I don't know if you've been able to watch this from the beginning. Hi. I don't know if you've been able to watch from the beginning, but it could be relevant to some of the things I imagine you're thinking about these days. Yeah, so that's what I got for you today, is the could, want, and the will. Feel free again before I sign off. Yay! I know, I'd love to know what kinds of things you're thinking about. I love brainstorming could lists, because usually we limit ourselves. We think, well, it could be this and this and this, and it feels safe. And I'm always encouraging people, like, don't play it safe. Like, really let yourself almost list impossible things, because again, it's on the other side of those impossible things that we tend to be like, oh, well, maybe it's not that, but it's actually this. So once you've expanded kind of your creative mind a bit, you're able to see these ideas that you hadn't been able to spot before. So if there are any questions, any comments, please leave them to the side. Even if you can't watch live, I will be following up throughout the day. I just bumped on, but I have a few coulds, but everything has a big but with it, and the but scares me. I love it. My suggestion, ignore the but. Ignore the big buts. I gotta write that down. That should be like my next Instagram post. Ignore the big buts. Because the buts are what's going to keep you from coming up with new ideas. You know, it's going to keep you from actually just letting yourself enjoy the possibility of all the things that you could do. Okay, so for now, forget about what you want to do or what you will do, and just make a could list. It can be fun. Now, Melissa's asked, is it a fast exercise? It's however fast you want it to be. You know, it's however, there is no time limit. There's no correct. Some people, you know, can be like, oh, and they can just list out a bunch of coulds. Sometimes it's just about having a notepad available and kind of setting this intention for yourself of today I'm going to list 2 coulds. And again, we could break every possible little thing down into little micro actions. Sometimes it's just about starting. Take a piece of paper, write could list on the top. I could do that. Melissa, I'm so curious about you, and I really appreciate you having commented on yesterday's video, and I know you're here today, and I hope you'll stick around. Really quickly, I have an invitation for those of you who are watching. If stuff is coming up for you that you want to explore more deeply and on a one-to-one level, please go ahead and head on over to allegrastein.com/coaching, because I would love to invite you to connect, to have a one-on-one conversation, just to kind of touch base and see what's what. And yeah, you can find that over there. Yesterday I typed it in, and I'm going to type it in today again. allegrastein.com/coaching. And that's your invitation for today. And the request again is to share this. If you know someone who's ruminating on lots of things and they don't know what to do next, feel free to share this with them. Invite them to like the page and to follow along, because I will be back tomorrow. I don't know exactly what topic yet. Could be around saying yes and no, which is always a powerful one for people. Yeah, I think there was something else that came up that I was thinking of, but well, so we'll see. It's all a big play it by ear experiment. A grand experiment. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. I'll be back to follow up with any questions or comments that you want to leave throughout the day. And you can also reach me directly here through my business page or at my website. All right, have a great one, everyone. Talk to you soon.